Howdy everyone, the time is 9:55 p.m. It's kind of late and it's December 14th. Welcome to another update from Great Lakes Weather. Hopefully you all are doing well today. Merry Christmas. We're getting pretty close, and as a matter of fact, there is quite a bit to talk about with weather upcoming towards Christmas. It's looking pretty surprising regarding the previous Christmases that we've had without snow. But this scene from Cedarville, once again, if you go to Cedarville or have gone to Cedarville, you recognize this. This scene is from a colder winter during my time there, and it may come back again with a vengeance over Christmas across the entirety of the Great Lakes region, a cold start to winter. Make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all the latest weather information, and we will try to keep you as updated as possible on the latest weather that could potentially come our way into the Great Lakes. Alright, I am starting right off with the models because, first of all, if you guys are aware, there is a big tornado outbreak ongoing across parts of the Dixie Alley area, and there's been quite a few actually strong to relatively violent tornadoes in that general area. It's been pretty surprising how intense things have gotten there, but you can see the low-level wind shear that exists, the warm air close to 70 degrees still across that area, which is rather surprising. And what you notice, if we take a little bit of a zoom in into the Great Lakes region real quick, if it will work here, what you can notice is you can see kind of a development of some ice across parts of central Michigan, and then snow in parts of the Upper Peninsula. Now, thankfully for us, we're going to keep the severe weather out of our area. We have this low pressure system that's settling over our area. It's going to bring some windy conditions, wind speeds of up to 50 miles per hour in some spots across parts of central Michigan as this moves through. And then it'll pass through, dump some heavy snow in the upper parts of the Upper Peninsula, and bring that potential there. And then on the back side, it looks like we could see some lake effect snow as we go towards the weekend. This is early Saturday morning at 1 a.m. once that rain moves through the area. And it's interesting to note that it takes a while for that rain to move through the area. It's going to move rather slowly. It's going to take a little bit, but it is going to dump ice and snow across parts of Michigan, so you're going to want to be aware of that if you're up in that general area. It looks like snow is coming your way, and then that low pressure system is going to kind of stagnate over our area. And the reason why that is because of a high pressure system that is dominating parts of the eastern Canadian area and parts of Greenland. That high pressure has really cut off the flow from low pressure into that area, which is really allowing it to just settle over this area and not move and try to find its way out over the course of the entirety of the weekend. But associated with that low pressure, you do see lake effect snow begin to develop across parts of Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, and you can see the sounding is pointing out the best guess would be freezing rain, freezing drizzle. So there is going to be potential for a little bit of freezing rain, but I do believe most of it will remain the snow across much of the western Lake Michigan, places that typically see lake effect snow. You may notice that we are in a cooler air mass at this point. I really want to show you the temperatures because temperatures are going to drop rather dramatically over the next several days. That's something I'm going to show you as well. But this is going to be moving through on Saturday, or from now through Saturday. That low pressure finally moves out, and then we see a break in the snow, and then maybe some scattered snow shower potential. But the next thing we're watching is this system that could potentially be moving through. GFS really plays it low. But the ECMWF model really sends it sky high in regards to the snow totals that we could potentially have for the Great Lakes region. So it is looks like quite a significant winter storm could be in the works on December 21st through 23rd. There's still some things that we have to figure out, but on the back side of it even, we also see the potential for maybe some lake effect snow to develop associated with a much cooler, in fact, Arctic air mass that's going to surge down into parts of the Great Lakes region near Christmas time. So White Christmas is looking very good right now. A very good White Christmas potential across much of the Great Lakes. In fact, if you go to the Climate Prediction Center's latest outlook for December 20th through the 24th, this is from the 20th through Christmas Eve, you can see that the temperatures are extremely likely to be below average. That is based on what the latest models are saying. And if you were to go to the national graphic, which that's something that we'll do real quick out here, we'll go look at the height anomaly real quick 500 millibar height anomaly is up here. Let's look at that real quick. Alright, so you can see that this trough is what is enabling that thunderstorms to develop across parts of Dixie Alley right now. That trough is going to move into our area and is going to cool down temperatures quite a bit. It's going to cool down enough to see some lake effect snow, lake effect freezing rain, things of that nature. And then that's going to begin to move out. We get a little bit of a ridge building back in by the 19th and 20th, warming our temperatures back up a little bit before the big surge of cool air comes in. And you see, look at that. You see that trough that's starting to build across here. This is the high pressure up in eastern Canada is finally beginning to move out at this point, and it's allowing the Arctic air once again to surge deep into the Great Lakes region. And look at that surge of Arctic air. It is going to significantly impact temperatures. Look at that. Temperatures at 1 p.m. on, actually at about 10 p.m. on Friday are going to get down as cold as 18 degrees across the area, and then we get into Saturday and it's going to even deepen even further by Christmas Eve. Look how cold that the forecast is showing it's going to get. Extremely cold. Temperatures of 8 degrees on Saturday morning at 1 a.m. It's going to be very cold. This trough is going to be strong and deep, and it's going to have a heavy influence on the weather for Christmas Day. It is going to be very cold in parts of Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, and it's very likely we will see sub-zero wind chills from this event based on the latest forecasts. So just if you're coming up to the Great Lakes region, or if you live in the Great Lakes region for Christmas time, get ready to use a lot of that fuel that you have, or build some fires, keep yourselves warm. It is going to be a cold one, and there's very likely going to be a lot of snow, and I'll show you that in just a minute on the ECMWF model. I do want to pause it. I want to go to the precipitation type here, and we're going to progress to the point of Christmas Day and see the potential of how much snow we could actually see across the Great Lakes region by Christmas Day. White Christmas potential here is what we're looking at right now. So we're going to go to the total snowfall on a 10-to-1 ratio, and if we zoom in onto our area, we're going to go to the regional graphics here. You can see snow accumulations, even forecasted by the GFS, looking pretty decent for much of the Great Lakes region. It's looking at snow accumulations across the board of 1 to 3 inches, and then the heaviest amounts going where those lake effect snow bands will focus across parts of up northern Michigan and western Michigan. Again, do not take these snow totals seriously just yet, because it is still over. It's still over a week out what's being forecasted right here. Okay, so that most models are projecting decent snow until once we get to Christmas Day. There will be decent snow, okay? You look at a measurement of snow depth according to the GFS model, and the snow depth does show heavy snow accumulations across much of the Great Lakes region, western Michigan, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, lots of snow on the ground, all right? So it's going to be a pretty decent white Christmas for parts of Michigan, and then enough to please the white Christmas person across Indiana and Ohio. Southern Indiana, Southern Ohio may not get that great chance of seeing that. Now I do want to focus though on the Euro, because the Euro pretty much uptrends this event really significantly. All right, so we're going to look at that real quick. So here's the ECMWF nationwide model. You progress forward here. You see that lake effect snow bands settling up for Thursday night through Saturday across parts of western Michigan right here. Get a sounding in that general area from the Euro, and it does show that dendritic growth zone of 5,300 feet to 7,700 feet. Not a very large or broad one, but it is a good point where the temperature and dew points meet that will enable the condensation to occur. So that's likely to bring some lake effect snow, probably not extremely heavy lake effect snow, but really what I want to focus on is this thing, this monster storm that the ECMWF is projecting will show up across parts of the Great Lakes region by December 23rd. Look at how heavy that snow is forecasted to get, and it's actually forecasted to really kind of just wrap around along the edge of along Michigan right here. Okay, you can see how this transition to snow occurs. The reason why I think the snow totals will be less across parts of southern Indiana and southern Ohio is that it looks like the snow transition won't really occur rather quickly. Okay, But on the back side of it, we do see light snow begin to return for part during Christmas Eve, lake effect snow across Michigan, and then surging as far south as Ohio, which could bring more snow accumulations. But the snow is likely going to continue into Christmas Eve in Michigan and northern parts of Indiana and Ohio, with that low pressure system that is extremely deep that's going to surge across the Great Lakes. And it does look like there might be some thunderstorms that develop ahead of that in parts of the Midwest. Getting a sounding of those, we can't really make sure of severe potential just yet. Again, this is getting still long range. We're going to have to wait on some things with regards to the models changing, but let's zoom in on our area real quick just to get an idea of how things could turn out with this winter storm that is currently being forecasted by the models. Again, models will likely change, okay? So we're going to get to, once that snow passes through and we get to hour 240, which is the farthest out, Christmas Eve morning, okay? This is about 7 a.m. on Christmas Eve, okay? So by the time the sun rises, it looks like you'll have some snow, and some snow moving across parts of Michigan, and then you get a snow total amount. It still again shows a similar amount of snow that the GFS does show. So there is model similarities here that we see, and you do see that snow potential continuing, that about 1 to 3 inches across parts of Indiana and Ohio, and then you get farther north, you have 6 to 10 inches of snow across Michigan and the Upper Peninsula. Again, there's still a lot of things to be figured out with this forecast, but both models are showing pretty decent snowfall amounts. And you look at the snow depth amount by that time, less snow depth, but there still is going to be a good decent amount of snow on the ground, and a white Christmas does appear very feasible across much of the Great Lakes region still, according to the Euro model. Now, one thing I really want to pay attention to, and that's something that you're going to want to pay attention to as well, is the temperatures, because the temperatures are going to be significantly cold, right? Very cold. You can look at this, okay? This is December 26th. This is the air temperature outside. This is not the wind chill or anything like that. This is the air temperature. Look at this, Minnesota, negative 11 degrees for air temp, right? Very cold. You have a very Arctic air mass moving in, and it's pretty early in the season to see cold temperatures like this, but they do happen with this Arctic blast that we will likely see. So temperatures will drop into the single digits across Indiana and Ohio. So even if you don't have snow, it's going to be pretty stinking cold, even as far south of Kentucky, Tennessee. Sub-zero temperatures in West Virginia. That's pretty surprising. And if we get a actual run of this, we're going to track how it changes over the next several days. So this is changing to Thursday. You can see a little bit of cooler air begins to move in. Not really going to make it too far into the Great Lakes region. Then you see that Arctic air by Saturday the 17th moving up into Minnesota. Temperatures in the 20s across parts of Michigan, Indiana, Ohio. So that's not surprising this time of year to see a change like that. By the time we get to the point where that Arctic blast begins to surge into the area and that one low pressure system begins to surge, look at how quickly the temperatures drop. December 23rd, temperatures as cold as single digits across the Great Lakes region with sub-zero across much of the areas to the west. So it's going to be very, very cold. Those sub-zero temperatures will surge into Indiana and Ohio Christmas Eve. So very cold Christmas Eve. You're definitely going to want to stay warm. And look at that. Sub-zero temperatures across much of that. And that's not even factoring in wind chill. It is going to be winds of about 10 to 15 miles per hour with gusts to 25 miles an hour according to the latest models. You get wind chills for that particular view here, and it dramatically changes, okay? Look at how cold the wind chills could get Christmas Eve. Wind chills, Indiana, Ohio, negative 20 below zero, or 20 below zero. And then you get single digits below zero across parts of the Great Lakes region. So that's what the current models are showing. Again, we can't make an accurate forecast based on that, but this is what the models are showing right now. All right, and we'll have to keep track of this for later updates, but you can see that winter is coming and it's going to stick around maybe even through New Year's Eve. Extremely cold air looking likely, and the Climate Prediction Center is seeing this on the models and is saying, hey, it's going to be cold, get ready. So overall, I think White Christmas potential is very high, and I also think the potential for very cold air that could even cause frostbite, maybe even some health-related things with cold could occur in the Great Lakes region over the next few days. So be aware of that. This is to make you aware of what could potentially be coming. Again, can't make a totally accurate forecast based on this, but this is what the models are showing, and it's something you should be aware of. All right, hopefully this information was helpful to you, and this video was helpful in getting that information out to you. Make sure to subscribe to continue to stay updated on all of the information that continues to come in with the models. These models are available to you, pivotalweather.com. Not an advertisement for them, but pivotalweather.com is what I use, and then I just use the simple National Weather Service websites. Best resource before looking at the models for yourself, so make sure to check those out. And feel free to check us out by subscribing and visiting our website. So hopefully this video is helpful to you, and I will see you all later. Stay warm.